Het verzoek is meer dan begrijpelijk. De dag voor ons gesprek is Paul McCartney met Ringo Starr naar New York geweest om afscheid te nemen van George Harrison. De Beatle die tijdens zijn leven zo'n gruwelijke hekel had aan interviews.
I don't like talking about myself. I'm not good at interviews. I don't like to do that. I'm not a, it's 25 years of doing that sort of thing. So I don't feel really at ease about going out, doing television and interviews and promote myself. I'm very bad at promoting myself.
Een unicum dus dat Harrison ons ruim 10 jaar geleden te woord stond. Een korte terugblik op dat gesprek met die andere Beatle die onlangs overleed. Waar hij vooral niet mee kon leven was de roddelpers. Hij schreef er een nummer over, The Devil's Radio.
In what way do you feel victimized by that type of journalism?
It's not just gossip journalism, it's gossip in general. The idea of that came from a church. I was at the traffic lights in my car and by this little church, and there was a sign on the side of the church and it said, "Gossip, the Devil's Radio. Don't be a broadcaster." So I just thought it was a good idea for a song, and it says in the song is gossip is, it's on the radio, it's in your magazines, it's just in people talking, about each other, and it's in films and it's in the clubs and it's in everywhere. It's not just about the press.
So you are against gossip?
Gossip, yeah, because it is a bad thing. I'm maybe more sensitive to it because maybe there's more gossip talked about me and the Beatles than about, generally. But gossip is not a good thing. It's a negative thing. And a lot of people I know, friends of mine, and they always say, "Oh, you won't believe what I heard about, Eric, he's doing, And it's like, I don't want to know about all these twisted little stories about, it's very negative.
You spend the majority of the years after the breakup of the Beatles avoiding publicity. Can one say that you're essentially a private nature?
Yeah, I'm a private person. I realize, having been the Beatles, it's not easy to be private all the time. But even if you're not in the Beatles, I think everybody needs some space. Everybody needs somewhere where they can go to be quiet and to get away from the day job. For me, the Beatles was like a day job. Like you go home and you rest and you have some space and privacy. And it's important for everybody in this world to have some space.
I gave you one big privilege because you had the privilege of meeting Mr. Kissinger.
Yeah. Well, me and Henry, we're great buddies. Yeah.
He wanted to have a photograph with you, or what happened?
Yeah, somebody told me he wanted to meet me, and so I was in Washington, and they took me over to the State Department. And I got there, and they brought me in his office, and he shook hands, and he said, "Why did you want to meet me?" And I didn't know what to say, because I was going there because he wanted to meet me. So, I don't know what I said, but I waffled something that to get out of it. And then he said, "Well, do you want to have a photograph taken?" I said, "Oh, yeah, okay." And he pressed a button, a photographer came in, took our photograph, and that was it. The great Henry. But the word fab is, it has to be seen as sort of a joke, it's a bit of a joke.
They're sitting in your car, by the way. Now.
Yeah, I'm going home now.
He is like myself with the guitar. What did you mean by that?
Well, we've grown, for so many years, grown up together, and as a drummer, I know Ringo is a great drummer, but he is bad, he doesn't practice. But it doesn't seem to matter. He just picks up the drumsticks, and for my songs he's very good because he listened to the song once and he knows exactly what to play. He was the kind of drummer who never likes drum solos. So he just keeps good time, and he instinctively knows when there's a little piece that needs a fill. And it's the same with me. People call me a guitar player. And in a way, I'm a guitar player, but I never practice. There's years and years in my life where I never picked the guitar up except just to make a record. But I know I could be quite good, but I don't practice enough.
Do you have the feeling that the older you get, the better you become?
Yes. for me, because when I was younger and with the Beatles and John and Paul and all that situation, it was hard for me to come out and get my confidence. And I think a lot to do with playing, writing songs and singing, particularly vocals, is hard. If you're very, very nervous, it's difficult because your voice chokes up. Now I don't care, you know, I'm getting old, I just don't care about what anybody thinks, and consequently it comes over better.
Yes. Being the youngest member of the Beatles, did you have any particular...
How old are they?
Yes. Did you have any particular difficulty establishing your own identity in the group? Was that extra difficult because you were younger?
I don't think I wasn't even trying to identify or make an identity. I was just in the band, really, and every so often I thought I would like to get my tune in. That was difficult in the beginning, and maybe more so after the Beatles split up is why I had so many songs and stuff like that. It was difficult at times, but I didn't mind. You know, I accepted being that member of the band that was in the middle. I didn't mind being that person.
At the time of the split up, you were only, I think, 27. You had a lifetime of experiences. You'd been through everything imaginable. Can you describe who were you at that moment?
In no less than 25 words?
I give you 26.
I don't know. At the time, you know, when we split, we'd had too much input from, you know, everything, all that being close together, touring the world, mania, everything like that. It was, we needed a rest from each other, and we needed space to grow. I think it's important because we're growing all the time, and when you like that situation, it's just like a family. You're so close together, and then you grow older and you want to move and you want to go into your own house and have your own friends. And that was necessary. I don't have any regrets, the Beatles splitting up. I think they did a fantastic thing in that short time. But everybody wants them to go together again, and it's impossible. I think it's better left as it is.
George's eigen bedside stories beperken zich tot een eerste huwelijk met Pattie Boyd en een later veel gelukkiger verbintenis met zijn vrouw Olivia. Die Olivia hield hij zo buiten de publiciteit dat het een zeldzaamheid was als je een goede foto tegenkwam van het echtpaar, samen met hun enige zoon Dani. Vooral na het uit elkaar vallen van de Beatles is George steeds op zoek gebleven naar zichzelf. Die zoektocht viel samen met een constante verandering van uiterlijk. Hij leek voor het geluk geboren, dat wel. Overleefde een nachtelijke overval in zijn eigen huis, maar werd uiteindelijk niet ouder dan 58. George Harrison. Na de Beatles had hij nog ambitie genoeg.
You lived so extremely intensively. Was there anything left to accomplish? Did you have the feeling that there was something you wanted to be accomplished by yourself?
Well, at the time the Beatles split up, the first thing I had to accomplish was to record all the songs I'd written during the Beatle days which never got onto vinyl. Well, it's made me want to not sort of kill myself too soon, you know. Sometimes we go too fast in life, and it makes me realize the responsibility. I want to have time to enjoy that relationship. And it's also made me think, I'm sure everybody who's a parent knows when they have a child, you also can be that child and you're the parent, and you can also be your own father at the same time. It's like it puts you into 3 different periods of time. 3 generations can be experienced in one. It's a nice experience.
So you stopped being as crazy as you were?
As crazy.
How crazy were you?
Oh, it's crazy. You know, I mean, rock and roll is crazy, you know.
What's your son's favorite type of music? Is it your music?
Chuck Berry.
So it's familiar.
Chuck Berry, the thing he wants to do most is play do 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 down down down. Chuck Berry.
Een van de weinige buitensporigheden waarop je Harrison kon betrappen was die aanschaf van dat huis met 120 kamers.
Well, it was just a big old Victorian mansion house that was unloved, decaying. It was all broken and they were going to knock it down and build a housing estate there. I bought it because it was a great example of Victorian craftsmanship, even though it was broken. And I fixed it up because it was interesting. It was like the National Trust in England who preserves nice old buildings. I like old buildings, so I wanted to do it like that.
The house is very important to you. You've been celebrating your house in 2 songs, so it means a lot to you.
Yeah, it's a place where I can get privacy, and when you sit like this room here we're in now, it's a nice room to be in, you know? And it is nice when you go in a house and you feel, oh, it's a nice room to be in, because it makes you feel good and it's conducive to maybe writing songs or feeling happy.
It's a well-known fact, Mr. Harrison, that you believe very firmly in reincarnation. What gave you this firm conviction?
Just by studying the Vedic, you know, what they call Hinduism, or even reading what Jesus Christ said. Jesus Christ taught all about reincarnation, except in Constantinople in 441 AD, they decided to get rid of that because the Romans, who was then starting to, they knew there was something good about Christianity, about Christ, but they didn't really like some of the things he said, so they fashioned it to suit themselves, and at that point in time they cut out what he's talked about, which is reincarnation and the law of karma, which is, as he said, God is not mocked, for whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap. But Christ taught the law of karma and rebirth.
To conclude, give me your first reaction to some names. Eric Clapton.
He's lovely.
Donnie.
My boy. My boy.
Margaret Thatcher.
Margaret Thatcher.
That's John.
Lennon.
Paul.
Paul. I'm going to see him now. I'm late for dinner with Paul.
Ringo.
I'm late for dinner with Ringo too.
George.
George Michaels, George Washington, George Formby, George Benson. Which one of these do you mean?
Op veel plaatsen in de wereld werden vorige week herdenkingsbijeenkomsten gehouden ter nagedachtenis aan de man die zijn keelkanker nog te baas kon, maar die het uiteindelijk moest afleggen tegen een tumor in de hersenen. George Harrison, de stille Beatle, maar een meesterlijk muzikus en een mooi mens.